Who says that a poem has to have a happy ending? Who says that a positive ending has to be a happy ending? I think we have a poem with a positive ending that is not, in fact, a happy ending. Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for another poetry discussion, which will appear, of course, in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel. The poem in question today is known as The Yellow Violet by William Cullen Bryant, and it reads as such. When beechen buds begin to swell, and woods the bluebird's warble know, the yellow violet's modest bell peeps from last year's sleeves below. Ere russet fields their green resume, sweet flower I love in forest bare, to meet thee when thy faint perfume alone is in the virgin air. Of all her train the hands of spring first plant thee in the watery mold, and I have seen thee blossoming beside the snowbank's edges cold. Thy parent sun, who bade thee view pale skies and chilling moisture sip, has bathed thee in his own bright hue and streaked with jet thy glowing lip. Yet slight thy form, and low thy seat, and earthward bent thy gentle eye, unapt the passing view to meet when loftier flowers are flaunting nigh. Oft in the sunless April day, thy early smile has stayed my walk. But midst the gorgeous blooms of May I pass thee on thy humble stalk. So they who climb to wealth forget the friends in darker fortunes tried. I copied them, but I regret that I should ape the ways of pride. And when again the genial hour awakes the painted tribes of light, I'll not overlook the modest flower that made the woods of April bright. Now, what is going on in this poem? We have our speaker who is talking about the yellow violet's modest bell. The violet, the flower, is there in early spring, and our speaker appreciates that. In fact, our speaker loves it when the violet's faint perfume alone is in the virgin air. Of all her train, the hands of spring first plant thee in the watery mold, and I have seen thee blossoming beside the snowbank's edges cold. It seems that the violet is eager to do what the violet does and provide that beauty that the violet provides, provide that scent, that perfume that the violet provides. But our speaker, knowing the violet, loving the violet, has also been guilty of passing by the violet for other flowers, looking at other flowers, other plants, enjoying them on his walk. And the violet's time having come and gone, the speaker swears that when it is the violet's time again, he will be paying attention. So what are we talking about here? Why are we writing this poem? Why are we reading this poem? What is this poem for? Well, the beauty of metaphor is that it can be anything. So one thing that violets often represent is humility itself. We talk about the humble violet in this very poem. And that could be sort of a double irony there, but if the violet was to be representing humility, it would be a poem about the speaker having lost his humility in his youth and then remembering it. So lost his humility as he became a stronger flower, as he became more masculine, more empowered, and then remembering that humility later, realizing, recognizing that, well, that humility did get me through to where I was able to better myself. Perhaps I should turn back to humility. But I don't think that that's actually the most compelling interpretation for this poem. Violets also represent faithfulness. Now that makes this an interesting poem, doesn't it? Our speaker, so the violet would therefore, I think, have sort of a double representation. If the violet is standing for faithfulness, for being faithful, faithful to what? Well, faithful to your lover. The violet is humble, not a great beauty. The violet is perhaps something like more common than that. Couldn't find my document. And this line, if we're talking about a lover, makes a whole different reading now, doesn't it? When thy faint perfume alone is in the virgin air. If this lover was our speaker's first lover, and the violet took our speaker as her first lover as well, then this line makes a whole lot of sense. And that's why we're talking about the early spring flower there as well. So the violet becomes representative of faithfulness and the lover. But our speaker doesn't stay there, does he? No, there's all of these other sexier flowers coming up. All of these other flowers, but midst the gorgeous blooms of May, I pass thee on thy humble stalk. So they, those other flowers who climb to wealth, forget the friends in their darker fortunes tried. I copied them, but I regret that I should ape the ways of pride. Perhaps what our speaker is communicating is that he had found these other women's, and they were socialites, perhaps, something fancier than that humble violet. And because of this, he lost his way. And in the end of this poem, and when again the genial hour awakes the painted tribes of light, I'll not o'erlook the modest flower that made the woods of April bright. Doesn't say he will have that violet. It says he will not overlook that violet. He will appreciate in memory that violet. It seems to me that maybe what is being communicated here is that our speaker screwed it up, had the good thing, had the violet, that humble violet, humble, maybe not as hubba hubba as these other wild flowers, but was always there for our speaker. Our speaker always loved those humble violets until he stopped loving those humble violets, and now that little lady is not there for him. Still, this is a positive ending because it suggests that our speaker has learned from this and has not cursed the violet, but has instead said, not that he misses the violet, but that he will appreciate what the violet has done for him. That's an interesting little turn of events if you ask me. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other poetry lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, poetry is the only or literature, pardon me, is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. So consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around, and as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.